Good morning, and welcome to another frustrated version of Diatribes from the voice of doom. Now here's your frazzled and flummoxed host, voice of doom. Another one of those secondhand bombs that we sent to Syria or somewhere else, I don't know. I wasn't really going to do a diatribe. I didn't plan anything. It's 3:24 a.m. and I believe it's February the 2nd. Time means nothing to me now. I will be up all night and I will sleep all day, because I am the pilot of my own soul. But I came home and watched Voice of Boons, my progeny, my issue, and watched his screeds. And imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but I don't know what to say about his diatribes, because I have no idea what the hell he's saying. He wanders around a lot and just has free thought, just goes from subject to subject and doesn't seem to have a thesis, doesn't seem to have a cohesive theme to his whatever he's trying to say. First he says things are better back then, and then he says things are better now, and things are easier now, but things were easier then. I don't know. I have the luxury of having lived through the last 6 decades, and so I can at least think back to how things were and think about how things are now. And we've had turmoil my whole life, but I've never seen anything like what we have now, with the confusion and the obfuscation and just everything. It's very frustrating, and I'm hearing it in the news. I'm hearing it with the talk radio guys and all these people. They're starting to get frustrated because they realize that there's nothing they can do about any of this madness. There's nothing to be done. They got people with the LGB, etc., and they're being used as pawns by a bigger power out there to create schisms, to delineate what people are. And in the process of trying to delineate everyone, we're losing our humanity, we're losing our individuality, because we all have to toe the line, otherwise we are called phobic. Now, I don't have much to say on this diatribe. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to post it, because it's not coherent, but I will put to rest what a woman is. Let's put to bed. I don't know. Everybody's having a hard time with this concept of what being a female is. So I will kind of tell you from the standpoint of the birth of Boone and his predecessor, Max. Now, we took Lamaze, my wife and I, when we found out that we were about to have a child. And we went through all the new age mumbo jumbo to have a natural childbirth. Music and this and that, using different mind things. And when it finally came to where my water broke. Okay, let's get home. We were actually going to get pizza. It was on Magnolia and Van Ness. We were in North Hollywood. And we decided to walk because for some reason people that are heavy with child like to walk. I wouldn't want to. But she was heavy with child and she said, let's walk to the pizza place. Okay. On our way back from getting the pizza, she said, my water just broke. And I said, let's get the hell home. So I had my bag packed and we took her down to Kaiser. We had insurance at that time. And let me tell you something, insurance is really good. Because Kaiser was like a palace. We knew what to do. You get there, you press the button and you open the door. And that lets the nurses know that you are about to give birth. Put her on a gurney and then that's it. They're gone. And I'm with her and she's like, and they're like, here's a bedpan. And stuff comes out because before you have a baby, you have to evacuate all the waste in your body. So without getting too graphic, a body has a lot more waste in it than we actually excrete on a daily basis. I will tell you that firsthand. I won't go into the nuts and bolts of how many times I took the bedpan to the bathroom and emptied it and came back. Now, one thing nice about Kaiser is they had a thing where they gave us a room and you could give birth in that room and recuperate and go into labor, do the whole thing in one room. It was very nice too. We had a couch and we had a table and we had a refrigerator and we had all kinds of crap because that's what they did for you back in 1996 when you had insurance. So, labor and labor and labor and labor and labor. And I'm like, okay, you're not about to give birth right this second, so I have to go get some stuff, like a crib and things like that I forgot to get. Because I was actually just kind of putting everything off and not thinking about it. And it's like, oh, we're going to need a crib and we're going to need a car seat and all this stuff. So I'm out there in the middle of the night in North Hollywood or wherever looking for stuff. Now, I came back and still in labor. And then it started to happen. And then you discover what a woman is. A woman is somebody who has to go through agony to produce a child. And let's not get into things like, oh, well, what if you're barren? What if you can't have kids? Does that mean you're not a woman? Come on. Let's not get into that. It was bloody. It was a mess. Lots of guts. It's not like on TV where they, go through all the labor and pump a few times, 2 or 3 times, and then, here's your baby all nice and clean. No. They come out all bloody, and you have to wipe them down, and you have to check them out, and you have to count their toes and feet and make sure that everything's all good. So I discovered that childbirth is ghastly, and I don't want to disparage people or discourage people from having kids because you get through it. We got through it, and it was fine. And Max was actually on a video that they made for Kaiser the next day because they wanted to make a video about newborns, and he was in that, and I was in that, and it was fun. All right, that was great. Now, Boone came 3.5 years later. No insurance. We went to the county hospital in Sylmar, and I was already taking care or we were taking care of a 3.5-year-old kid who was autistic. So when Boone was born, I looked at him and go, he's got 10 toes and 10 fingers. Come on, let's go. We got things to do. It was in a very small room, and it was very primitive. It was a county hospital with no insurance, okay. Same thing happened with the pain in the guts and the blood. But I saw that he had all his toes and fingers, so I said, let's get out of here. And the doctor said, no, he's not going. He is premature. And in fact, my wife's water broke like 2 months before she was supposed to give birth, so she was in the hospital for like 3 weeks until they finally said, nah, we can't keep you here forever. Because her water had broke. Now, you got to study up on having kids. Once your water breaks, you're susceptible to germs. So, when Boone was born, they said he is premature, his lungs are not fully developed, and he's got to stay in ICU. NICU and ICU. And my wife stayed with him all day long, every day, while I took Max here and there, whatever I had to do with him, and worked and drove around and drove from North Hollywood to Sylmar, and from Hollywood. It was a nightmare. I had to drive to West LA to drop him off with the grandmother, and then I could go to work, and that's what life's all about, and that's what a woman is. They stay with the baby all for 24 hours a day until that baby is fit to be taken home. And then you have what you see now, the voice of Boone. And I raised him well. He has no idea what he's talking about. I'm not going to lambaste his opinion because I have no idea what he's saying. So it's hard to actually criticize it. But of course he's a millennial, so even though I've raised him reasonably correct as a Buddhist to have rational thought, he still doesn't really take kindly to criticism. So you have to kind of couch it in terms like, I really like what you're doing, but you're full of it. I don't know how you do it, but I think he's starting to realize that doing a monologue off the top of your head is not that easy. You have to have some experience, you have to have some wisdom, you have to have lived and seen the guts and the entrails and everything else that comes out of a woman's body when they give birth. And when you've seen birth and death up close, then you may be able to give an opinion. I was going to talk about politics, and I didn't even talk about it. Frustration. But hopefully these coppers are going to get it together. They're doing a few hearings. There's D's in there that make me want to release whatever I've eaten out of an upset stomach because they're disgusting and ridiculous. And I could go into great detail on why, but I'll do that at another time. I think I gave you a little bit of an idea of what a woman is. So next time someone asks you on the street, like Jesse Waters or somebody, you can answer them succinctly. So we'll leave it there. I don't know why I did this one. I saw Boone and then I had to do something. So have a good night, and I hope you enjoyed it. I think this clarified everything for everybody. And have a good morning. I gotta go to sleep.